come with me and restore the wood on this boat and make it look like this boat. So I am really excited about this project. I started out here with my power sander, just your standard DeWalt random orbital sander. I'm using 60 grit, 80 grit, 120 grit, and 220 grit. I think I actually got that wrong. I think it's maybe 60. Well, it doesn't matter. I use several different times. You can see there's some really small little pieces and corners of this boat. So right here I'm using my Dremel with a sanding bit on it. Of course, I did a rough 80 grit and then a smoother 180 grit. And then to get in those tiny little corners of this door, I ended up just using the strips of sandpaper, again, a rougher grit down to a finer grit. I had to use these pretty much on everything that was small, like the cup holders and the footrests and the little like pockets along the side of the boat. Then of course, brush off all of the sawdust and other dust and get ready for the extraordinarily tedious job of taping. So my pro tips on taping are work smarter, not harder. So cut smaller pieces, overlap them with enough grip on each overlap so that when you pull them, they will all come off in one piece. So you want to overlap them and then put them on in the same direction. You're about to see me not do this. Hold on. There it is. See that gap? Don't do that. That'll ruin when you have a nice smooth line when you pull it. So anywho, the taping is tedious. Use scissors. Oftentimes that finer tape, I think it's 0.88 thickness, it gets stretchy. So use scissors to cut your tape. Cut little tension on your tape because boats aren't straight. They're almost always curved. And just have patience for the process because the more time you take taping, the nicer it will look after you stain. So here I am applying teak oil. This particular application, and always follow the directions on the bottle, but this is apply a first coat, let that set for 30 minutes, come back, apply a second coat, let that set for 15 minutes, and then dry brush. So dry brush is best done with those cheapy foam brushes from dollar store. Throw them away once you're done with them. But what it does is it comes through and absorbs any excess teak oil that hasn't absorbed into the wood, so you don't get any funny spots, runs, drips, etc. And so you can just see that I'm applying this teak oil. I'm using a brush for those smaller areas. I did use a foam roller at one point, but it fell off the boat, so at this point of the project, I no longer have a foam roller. But using the brush was just fine for me because there really weren't big swaths of wood where I could use the foam roller. So once you get through your application of the teak oil, you're going to want to let it set 72 hours if you decide to put a poly on top of it. The owner of this boat did not want to do a poly on top of the teak oil, just wanted to do the teak oil, and that's fine. Teak oil is water resistant. So here is the final product. He did not ask me to wash the boat before I did this, so unfortunately the boat looked dirty despite the wood looking awesome. After I finished this project, though, he did ask me to wash the boat, so it is nice and clean now. But really happy with how the doors turned out, as well as those smaller accent pieces of wood. I really think that they ended up just having nice clean lines and popping and making the whole boat look really nice and sharp. So here she is, all cleaned up with the wood restored.